Hello, hello, everyone. The computer says we are recording, so we are in good shape. I am Joan Turner of Joan's Art Gallery, and I have the much anticipated uh, mandala on the bottle tutorial that I'm painting today. So this is what we're going to do. At least we're going to try to do that because I've never done one on a bottle before. However, these bottles were donated by Bethany at the Drake Council on Aging. And she's like, Joan, can you do anything with these bottles? And I'm like, yeah, of course we can. So we're going to try to paint this kind of mandala on this bottle. And so first thing we're going to do is go through what will you need in order to do that. You will need bottles, okay? And the bottles that she donated are, this was a clear bottle. I painted it black. So these are, I think, iced coffee bottles because she was, during the pandemic, she was trying to get her coffee fixed. So the first thing you're going to need is a paintbrush and black paint. And these are acrylic paints, all right? And you're going to paint the bottle black in this case. Okay, if you decide to, you can decide to paint them any color you want. But for this exercise, we're going to paint them black. Okay, so I'm going to paint the whole thing black and then do a second coat, which is what I'm doing right now because the first coat is already on there, right? But this was a clear bottle. Okay, so once you get the second coat on there, you're going to let it dry. So what I used was some acrylic black paint, all right? The name of the paint is, Basics is the brand name of the paint, okay? And it's an acrylic paint and a paintbrush and of course your bottle, all right? So paint your bottles, and like I said, you can typically do them in any color you want, but for this tutorial, we're going to do them in black just because I think that would be awesome. Okay, so the other things you're going to need while the bottles are drying, and you can also halt, you can also stop the recording and let your bottles dry as well. Okay, so you have it named in a shade. So to do this tutorial, you not only need your bottle, okay, the bottle is here. Okay, you will, besides your black paint, you will need some green paint. You will need some yellow paint. You will need some blue paint and some white paint. Okay, and again, all these paints are acrylic, all right? So we're gonna attempt to do this design. All right, the other things that you will need is paper towels nearby. It's not a big roll of toilet paper, guys. It's paper towels. I get a lot of jokes about my paper towels. You'll want to have some water bowls nearby. I usually do 2 or 3 because I make a mess. And the other thing is you'll want to have art clothes on, or if you don't have art clothes, a smock, or something that you don't mind if it gets stained. The awesome thing about acrylics is that when they dry, they're permanent. The bad thing about acrylics is when they dry, they're permanent. And so while it works out good on the art piece, it doesn't work out so great on your clothes unless they're your art clothes. So I have art clothes, and if you don't have art clothes, you know, make some art clothes. Half my wardrobe is art clothes. Or you can wear a smock or anything, like I said, that you don't mind ruining or getting paint on. Okay. That also goes for the art table. And I have an art room, so there's a lot of paint kind of everywhere. You know, we drop paint on the floor, there's paint all over the table, and I probably can even let you see the table. It has all this paint on it because this table is like 25 years old, and we have been painting on it for 25 years. And it's difficult to keep things clean. Also, it gets on the floor and stuff. So you want to protect any spaces. If you don't have an art room, you know, cover your tables, cover your floor. And the easiest way to actually cover them is just get like plastic table covers from like the dollar store or something, and just put them down, and that way you're not worried about, you know, did I get a spot here or did I drop this there. If you do happen to notice them and you notice them while they're wet, they will clean up with soap and water pretty much. But once they're dry, they're with you for life. The only exception to that rule, I think, is when I get them on plastic. Sometimes I can scratch it off, but you know, better to not get them on there. Other things that you will need in order to do this dotting. And like I said, I've not dotted on a bottle before, but Bethany likes to stretch me artistically. So thank you, Bethany. And this bottle is still kind of drying a little bit, but the part where I'll be painting on is dry. So I'm thinking, because the bottle is curved, probably something flexible would be really good to work on. So in some of the other dotted mandala tutorials, you know, I've always suggested that people actually get dotting tools, all right? And most of them are kind of, you know, rigid like this. But some of them actually have flexible tips, okay? So those are the ones I'm going to try today, because I'm thinking they'll lend themselves better to the curve of the bottle. If you don't have dotting tools and you just want to use whatever is around your home, pencil, a clean eraser, a flat part of the eraser makes a really good dotting tool. The other things that make really good dotting tools are these little bottles. And you can take them out of the bottles, certainly, and just use the wand part. But for ease of holding it, it actually is fine just doing it this way, all right? And because it's flexible, you know, it's a little bit easier to use. So I save these, okay? So those. And the other things that you're going to find helpful are this pencil is a brand new pencil. It's never been used. So you could actually use both sides of this to dot with. The sharpened pencils, okay, some of them have this one's yellow because I've used it several times. Have kind of a flat point on them, or a flat head. So you can use them for very small dots. Same thing with these other pencils. If you sharpen them whole bunches, you can get really, really tiny, tiny dots. So I do save them and use them for that. Once I get paint on them, obviously they don't work that well for like drawing or writing with. So you want to save them for that particular thing. Okay. So the other thing I would advise is some like Q-tips or cotton swabs. Okay, so I'm going to go get some. You hold that thought. Hold that thought, and I'm going to go get some Q-tips. Now, the reason for the cotton swab is if you do make a mistake, the cotton swab tip is actually small enough that you can kind of clean it. You know, seeing yourself on camera is never an easy thing, is it? Okay, so I'm going to have some of these cotton swabs. And the other thing that cotton swabs are good for, the cosmetic ones are pointy. Again, you can use them for dotting. And you can actually take the cotton off of one end and use that for dotting as well. And then there are times when I just actually use the padded part, because that will make a bigger dot than just the stick part. Okay, so I think we have everything. You will also need a palette. In this case, a paper plate. You can use an artist palette. You can use a plastic coated plate. You could use just about anything. Some of my students use ceramic dishes because they could just wash them off afterwards. paper plate is my preference, or a disposable palette. Okay, disposable palette is kind of a block of like waxy paper, and after you're done with it, you just tear it off and throw it away, and there's a new one underneath. Okay, so obviously eventually you're gonna run out and need new ones. But if you don't have artist materials and you're just trying this because you wanna, okay, paper plate is fine. Okay, so without further ado, let us try this. Okay, so I am going to rearrange this computer screen so that you can see what I am doing. Okay. I am going to use my tools. I'm going to use my home makeshift tools. Okay, so let's put you this way so you can see what I'm doing. Now, if you've seen any of my other tutorials, typically we give ourselves some guidelines. I'm thinking this one, let's wing it, okay? So if in fact yours doesn't come out exactly the same, don't worry, be happy. Just have a good time, right? And my peach tea, and yes, it is peach tea, your fresh kids who think it's something else. Okay, I'm gonna put that there. So if I look at this picture, there, I want to start with that center dot right there, and it's a small blue dot, or it's a white dot with a blue dot inside of it. Okay, so let's put a little white first. Okay, so I'm going to take my white, and when it comes to brand names of paints, if you decide that you're going to become an acrylic paint artist for your life's work, and go out and buy heavy body or heavy viscosity acrylic paints, and then mix your own thickness. Hello, thank you. Mix your own thickness for this. But what we're going to do today, we need the paint to kind of flow a little bit more. Okay, so we're going to keep it on the loose side. So if the paint, in fact, is a little too thick, you can thin it out. You could thin it out with some water. There's paint medium that you can use. And again, you know, unless this is going to be your life's work and you need to have, you know, the best, most expensive paints in the world. Other than that, you know, these are, I think they're a good student grade. Premier is one name. The Basics is a Liquitex company. Okay, but the reason that I like these so much, especially to do classes, and you can use them right out of the tubes. Okay, you don't have to mix them. Like I said, if they're a little thick, so what you want to do, then absolutely, you know, loosen them a little bit. Okay, so I'm hoping this looks good. This looks good. All right, so I put out a little bit of white here. And so for this very first dot, let me see, I think I'm going to use my brand new pencil, because God forbid I should have anything clean in the house. Okay, so I'm going to take this bottle, which is almost dry, kind of, sort of, and I'm going to place this dot. Okay, when you putting your tool into the paint, it wants to have this little dot of paint on it, and then we're going to try and like find middle ground here, and I'm going to go straight down into this. Okay, so you don't want to hold it like a pencil and do it on the side. You want to go straight down so you get a good dot. All right, so now that I did that, I'm going to take my paper towel, and I'm sure I'm going to want to use this pencil again. So I'm going to just clean off the top of that. Okay. And now around this middle dot, we're going to put a row of white dots. So I can either use my pencil tip for that, or I could use one of my tools. These tools have different size nibs on the ends of them. So if you have one, pick one, use it. If not, you can use a pencil point. Again, any of the tools that we mentioned earlier. Some people actually use knitting needles, crochet hooks. So you're only limited as far as you can stretch your imagination. And boy, oh boy, I seem to be able to stretch mine pretty ding dang dong good. Okay, so I am going to take one of these. I know that one actually might look a little bigger. Okay, so I'm going to take this and let me see if I can even get a little bit closer to the camera here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so again, making sure I have enough paint, and then I'm going to do one dot to the north, one to the south of that middle dot. And you're getting as close as possible without actually touching it, which is a little bit of a challenge because I'm holding the bottle up. Okay, so now that I did that, I'm going to try to fit 2 dots in between those two. And maybe I'll go smaller little nib here. Okay, so I'm going to try and fit 2 in between here. I actually was able to fit 3. Okay, so getting them on nice and straight, or at least as straight as you can. Okay, and you can see that I've redotted a couple, but that's how we're going to start our mandala. And already I'm liking it. I'm so excited. Okay, let me redot this little guy right here. That will make me feel better. Okay, so if you make a mistake, you can use your cotton swab to kind of clean it off. Okay, the paint will dry on your tools. So again, if you're not using them, put them in your water dish. I'm trying to be neat, it's a Virgo thing, but I don't know why I try, because very rarely do I actually succeed. All right, never mind, stop complaining. Okay, so I'm going to put those in the water. So the next thing I want to do is, I think I'm going to create these blue lines here. Okay, so you can see that they go from small to big, right? So I'm actually going to, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in there. I'm going to take this particular, all right, and again, you can use a Q-tip, you can use a flat edge pencil. Don't use a really pointy one for this one. Okay, so I'm going to use that, and I need to put out some blue paint. So what I have here is deep turquoise. You can use whatever kind you like, any kind of blue you like. You could actually change the color scheme around as well if you'd like to do that. Okay. But for the sake of this tutorial, let's go with the blue, or maybe a different blue. Seeing as how this, you know, it may be empty. Wait, I see some life. Ah, success. Okay. So now I'm going to take the blue, and I'm going to once again do what I did before, and that is to say I'm going to put 1 on each side of it. Dot. then one at the top, one at the bottom. Okay, so you're looking at it like this. Okay, and we're going to go kind of 5 dots out. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see that? Okay, so we're going to do that to all 4. Okay, and your tool will only hold so much paint. Okay, so you may have to dip a couple of times here. Okay, and remember once again that you're on a surface that's not totally flat. So take your time. And again, if you need to stop the recording to kind of catch up, feel free to do that. Okay, so now I'm going to take this blue off and I'm going to go to the green. See the green here? Okay, and there's 4 greens. So I have Viridian Hue, which is a nice deep hue, and it feels just about as empty as the blue did. So let's see if anything's actually going to come out. I do a lot of painting, and I go through lots of paint, and I'm sure most artists do. All right, so I'm going to use exactly the same tool that I used to make the blue. And try to close this. All right, let's give it one more try. All right, let's put it there. All right, so now we're going to do the green. Okay, I'm going to start exactly the same way. Okay, and again, we're going to do 5 dots. So I'm going to do, we already have 1, 2, 3, and then redip, 4 and 5. Okay, beauteous. Okay, take your time, do a good job. Halt the recording if you need to. Finding I can do like 2 dots at a time before I actually have to redip. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to clean this off. Right? And we can top dot. Now, what all that top dotting is that after these dots dry, we can add little tiny top dots on top of them, which in this case, I'll add some white to the green and top dot with that. I'll add some white to the blue and top dot with that. Okay. In the meantime, let us continue on. We are going to go back to our white now and choose a tool, right? And 1, 2, 3rd dot up. Actually, let's not say we did. Let's go to the yellow. Okay, so the yellow around the green, we're going to start doing this yellow around the green here. So in that green that gives, we need some yellow paint. Voilà. And you'll notice that I'm not putting like lots and lots of paint out on my palette because the paint dries fast, especially if you're in a place or an atmosphere where the air is dry. So I'm in my art room. It is air conditioned, but there's a lot of air moving around. It dries out quickly. Okay, we are ready. I am like excited here. So we are going to see which one did I take on? Little guy. And what do I see here? 1, 2, 3, 6. All right, so I see 6. Do we have to have 6? Not necessarily. The tools and dots and whatnot that we're using are going to maybe be a little bit different than what's in the handout, which is perfectly okay. It's actually better if it's your own creation, right? So we're just looking for what's the best way to do this. And yours will come out different, and it should come out different. Okay, so I'm gonna do the yellow around this top green and see if I can get close enough so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so just on the green ones. So we have 4 green spikes. Okay, so now I'm going to do something called walking the dots, which means I'm going to get smaller as I run out of paint. Okay. So I take this and I'm just pressing in the same big starter dot and then just going 1, 2, 3. Okay, dip again. And same starter dot. 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right, then go down the other side of this. 2, 3. Okay, so we're starting to expand a little bit here. So remember to keep your tool up straight. Right? That looks kind of cool. Okay, and then we have another one over that. As a matter of fact, we're going to end up with 3 rows when we're done. Right, so I'm going to do another one here and here. I'm actually just placing these right above my starter dots. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to come down like 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I'm doing 6 there. 2, 3, 5, and 6. All right, so my dots are actually getting smaller as they move away from the home position dot. Okay, so they get smaller. Okay. So you're going to have to move this around a little bit. right, so we have one more here. Cool or what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How cool is that? Let me see if I can hold it the right way without actually touching anything. Okay, so that's what we're looking like right now. And I'm going to clean off excess over here because we need a third row of dots, of yellow dots. So I'm going to dip into this yet again. And I am lining up these dots, like see these 2 dots that are right here? I'm lining up this third dot with those dots. We would like those to line up. All right, so now I have another leading dot. I'm going to turn my bottle around this way. Four, 5. You can get 5. You can go 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I think I can get 8 over there. Let's try it on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not too shabby. We're getting there. Gotta love it. Okay, dipping. Do our main dot once again. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can't believe I got 8 out of that. Yay. Okay, now, if you can see my mishkapa, can you see where that is touching over there? I'm going to just pick it up with this little Q-tip. Now, whenever you do anything like this, you're always going to end up kind of doing some repair work when you're done. So if it's a little tiny mistake like that, kind of leave it. Then we can get a detail brush, excuse me, at the end and just kind of fix them. Ah, nice. My own best fan, aren't I? Okay, someone's going to do it. All right. Oh, because I have a tendency to pick up my hand a little fast. I end up with paint tails and trails. Okay, so I tried not to do it with that. Okay, so you can see that. I still have one more to do. See that one leading dot. So move this around this way. And then put a dot here on this side. Okay, so I just kind of cheated a little bit. Put a dot on either side. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because I already have my one over there. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ta 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 ta. Okay, let's bring this dot out a little bit here. Okay, so that's what my bottle looks like so far. I have to say, I'm very excited. Okay, so around our blue dots, we are going to put, I mean, these, we still need to put white around here, but let's work the blue dots. Okay, so around the blue dots, we have green. We have 3 rows of green. Okay, can you see that? So I do already have some green paint out. Let me see. We have, oh, look at stuff there. All right, let's do same thing here. Green, 1, 2, 3. Green over here. All right, so I'm going to use the exact same tool, and I'm going to do 1. Let me put more paint here. Okay, 1, 2. Whoops, into the right color. And 3. Okay, so I'm putting 3 right up against that blue. Now I know right now they both look kind of like dark colors. However, we are going to top dot, so there'll be a different value, a different lightness, darkness. Okay, so I'm giving everyone 3 green dots. Everyone's getting 3 starter dots. And just on the blue row. So this, now we're starting to go around the edge of the bottle here. So if you have something softer, maybe this is a good place to maybe use a Q-tip or something on that idea. Let me clean these tools just a tad because I'm making a super mess here. And it'll give our dots a little bit of a chance to dry a little bit. But now I'm thinking to myself that because we're getting so close to the where the bottle turns, maybe let's switch to a softer tip. So if you have something with a spongy edge like this, that will work. And if you do not, okay, try a Q-tip like this, okay, that has a point on it, right? Now these pointy Q-tips are called cosmetic swabs. Okay, I keep calling them Q-tips, which is a brand name, but they actually are cotton swabs. And the pointed ones are called cosmetic, all right, because people use them to put on cosmetics, makeup, okay? So both kinds are good. If you have a small enough dauber bottle, but this tip would be too wide for what we need it for right now, okay? So I'm going to use a kind of spongy tipped dotting tool. And like I said, if you don't have one, a Q-tip will give you a spongy, especially a pointed one. If you don't have a pointed one, pull some of the cotton off and just kind of round it out with your hands. Okay. All right. So let's get comfy here. And let's do our next 3 rows. And I'm going to do one here like this. And I'm going to turn the bottle this way, and we're going to go around. First one. And this, because it's on a dark bottle, may be a bit of a challenge to see here. Maybe I'll put a little white in there so that you can see it. Let's try this. I still really can't. Okay, so let's see here what we can do. Okay, this is the first green line. I'm going to do the second one. Hopefully it's going to show up a little bit more. Two, three, four. That definitely shows up more. You'll be able to see it. Okay, so I'm doing the second lead dot. Right, can you see that? Right there. Right. And then the third one, because just like the yellow, there are 3 rows here. Okay, and I'm on the row of 8. One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I'm going to make this lead dot a little bigger. All right, can you see that okay? A little hitting it. Oh yeah, okay, I guess you can, right there. Okay, so now we want to do the same thing to these other lead dots. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And I think I can fit a 4th one in there. Whoops, too much paint. 1, 2. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I'm going to redot this little guy here. All right, so I'm on my last one. So it's 1, 2, 3. Right, and these dots could be a little bigger. 3. And let's do the other side. Lead dot. 1, 2, 3. Let's come down here. Okay. This is kind of exciting. Okay, let me do these dots. 2, 3. 2, 3. Okay, so the second lead dot is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, and I can only fit 4 there. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. Okay, I'm going to extend my lead dot just slightly. Okay, that is so cool. Awesome. Okay, so I have one more row to do here. So in this 3 dots there. So the first lead dot, 1, 2, 3. Lead dot on the other side, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. On that side, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so again, if yours is slightly different, that is A-okay. My own is slightly different, even from dot to dot a little bit. Like I said, trying to kind of dot them, holding the bottle up can be a little bit of a challenge, but hold yours in a way that's comfortable for your hand, obviously. Okay, I'm gonna clean up some of this paint. All right, so now we can do some even more fun stuff. So the pots that we have done, this and all of these, and then we have the yellow done here, we have the green done here. So now we're gonna switch back to white, all right? White even around the bottom. This really is a beautiful piece if you really kind of look at it and take it apart a little bit, okay? So with this white, and I'm going to switch tools even, because now I'm getting back a little bit closer to the flatter side of the bottle. Again, if you're working on the part of the bottle that's kind of curved, the softer tools actually work out a little bit better. But now that we're back where it's a little straighter, I'm going to switch back to the stiffer dotting tool. I'm most used to those, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to use this tool, which would be the size of a flat tipped pencil, or one that you've sharpened but kind of made it flat on one side. I'm knocking over paint here. Painting in the art room. There's lots of paint all over. All right, so we're going to dip into our white, and from the third, let's see, up. Okay, so we are, the row that is green, right, we're going to do 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. Okay. I'm going to try not to ruin. Okay, so we're going to do 1, 3, and I'm actually going to put a little extra one right there. Let's see if we can get that a little bit better. There we go. All right, and then we're going to go the next row. 3, 4. And on the other side, 1, 2, 3, 4. And one more row. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. On the other side, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So we're really starting to get a nice shape in there. So we need to do that to all of these really yellowy areas, but we're starting from the third green dot out. And going around. Okay, I'm going to do one here. Okay, make sure you have enough paint, or else you start to look like Pac-Man. Or Mrs. Pac-Man. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. Do one more up here. Okay, so you're always kind of looking for balance with your eyes. Okay, so see these two white areas. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side here. Okay, see if you can see. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2. And just put one down there. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Put a little one right there. Okay. Let's do, let me see, we have one more here. These are awfully close. Okay, so we have, oh, and I keep hitting my drink. I'm gonna end up in trouble here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Beauteous. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 3, and 4. Then we're going to try and fit in one more here and here. Okay. All right. So now, so I'm looking at this. It's a lot of space in here, so I'm going to make these dots a little bit bigger. So again, there's a little, maybe a little bit of room to kind of play around and maybe cheat a little bit, if you want to call it that. But we're ending up with something really kind of cool here. All right, so over the blue dots, same thing. Let's make 3 lead dots here. Okay, see the 3 white dots over the green. Okay, so this is our green section. 1, 2, 3. Okay. This green section is going 1, 2, because it's going to go off my bottle. And then another one here. 2 and 3. Okay, so this is what this looks like. Now, I'm going to sit so that I can get a better handle on this, and maybe I can get you close enough. Okay. So during this pandemic area time, you know, trying to do things virtually, I'm learning a whole bunches of stuff. However, I am definitely not a professional at it, but I have to say, I'm having a blast. So hopefully you guys are enjoying these tutorials as much as I enjoy doing them for you. Okay, so we want to keep our dots relatively round, Joan. There we go. Try that. Good girl. So again, we're kind of getting around the round part of the bottle. So I am using the stiffer dot-er. So keep that daughter up straight so that you can get a round dot. And look at that. Those dots really get tiny as they disappear. That's kind of cool. So let's do this one the same way. And let them get really small. Kind of has a little bit of a lacy look to it. Okay, so that's the way that looks, and they are a little bit thicker on the other side. So even though I like that lacy look, I want them to look relatively the same. So make them a little bit bigger. Okay, so there's my lace there. Right, so now we have the 4 yellow areas, we have the 4 green areas. So right now I'm working around green areas. Okay, so I'm doing this, the dot closest to the dark green first. Okay, winding my way around them. And then I'm going to the second row. And actually, I'm impressed at how the dotting tool is actually really holding the paint. Now, typically, when I do these, I'm having to redip more often. And I'm wondering if it's because of the material, that's to say, bottle versus a canvas or canvas board, which may in fact just take up more paint. You have to. That's at least that's what I'm noticing, is that I'm not having to dip my tool into the paint quite as often as I do when I'm using a canvas. Okay, so we're getting this kind of lacy look here, which is exciting. Okay, so now that it's starting to go around the sides of the bottle, really I'm having to really be careful of where I'm holding this bottle. So can you see this? Okay, maybe you can. Let's go a little closer. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're doing the next dot up. 6. 2. Okay, I'm not getting dots here, so we did. Sometimes we're just getting these kind of waffly looking dots. So at that point, you either need to clean off the tip of whatever you're using to dot with. Sometimes it's just a matter of the paint building up on the tool. Sometimes it's a matter of you don't have enough paint on the tool, and you may or may not be holding the tool upright enough. Okay, so these are my, let me make sure I don't. So this is what I have so far. Okay, so I still have to do the bottom one. And I only have 2 dots on my bottom because even though there's 3 on this one, I'm too close to my bottom. So I'm just going to put 2. Like I said, don't be afraid to. The bottom line is that you want to do what's best for your composition more so than anything else, because there aren't any 2 artists that are going to produce exactly the same art. At least I hope not. And so we want them to be slightly different. It's okay. Yeah, I actually think it's better if they look more like you, or your work anyway. I have a student in one of my Drake classes who she's been working on a piece for a long time, and she's a relatively new student, so she gets a little bit. She was a little bit wanting, that piece to come along a little bit better than it did, and she had a certain kind of picture in her mind about what it was supposed to look like. Because she's a beginner student, she required some help. So she's like, I would like more blue in this. I would like this, and so on and so forth. So, I took the brush and kind of did some work on her picture. And I'll tell you, even though I liked it, I'm doing what I like. And let's try here for a second. And she liked it, of course, but she felt that was not her work anymore. That I had helped her too much, and she felt like it was more, even though she liked the way that it came out, she felt it wasn't exclusively hers. So after the class, she took it home. She really worked on it, and then sent me. She emailed me the picture of it, and lo and behold, it's totally different than what we had worked on in class, but it's a very beautiful piece. And she said, now I feel like it's my own. That's what's important here, that you express yourself. Okay, so now for the most part, we have a basic design on here. We don't have the top on, but we have the basic design here. So what I want to do is do a little bit of top dotting. All right, so the dark blue that we have on our bottle, we want to top dot with a light blue. Okay, so I'm going to take a brush here. You don't have a brush or a little palette knife. You can use anything, but I am going to put this over here, let it dry for a second, and put out a little bit more white, because now what I'm going to do is mix some blue and white together. Okay, so when you're mixing colors, always take the lighter hue first. Okay, then we're going to take the blue, which is the mightier, stronger color here, and mix it in with the white. Okay, if I do the blue first and try to mix that in there, you will end up using a lot of paint here. Okay, so now I have a light blue, which is very exciting. I'm liking it. Okay. And I'm going to take and top dot over the dark blue, this very light blue color here. So in order to do that, I want a tool that's a little bit smaller than what I used for these blues. And if you cannot remember what you used, it's not really a big deal. Just take like a pencil point or something on that I did and just see if they actually fit in there. And this does. So I'm going to take this little bit of light blue that I mixed, and I'm going to top dot right here. Okay, can you see that light blue? Right there, right now. So now I can still see the dark blue, but now I can also see the light blue. So that's what top dotting is. Right, so I want to see both colors on here. Can you see them? See those blues on there? So you can see the dark blue, but you can really see that light blue on there too. Okay, now there's a lot of paint on your bottle at this point, so be careful of where you're touching. Okay. Here. Okay, so just top dotting these darker blue areas, and it automatically kind of adds a new bit of pizzazz here. So we want to do the same thing to the green. Okay, so I'm going to take my tool and I'm going to clean it off, but I'm actually going to save it. And with your brush, clean off your brush. Clean it off first with the paper towel, and then I'm going to put it in the water, swish it around a bit, and get another paper towel. Like I said, I go through lots and lots and lots of paper towels. Okay. And see how the blue is coming off of my paper towel? All right, that means that the paint is not out of the brush. All right, so if I were going to switch, I almost said swish, if I were going to swish to a different color, I would end up having blue in it. because I'm going from blue to green, I'm not going to worry about it too much. It's kind of in the same family. If in fact you were to mix blue and yellow together, you'd end up with a green. Okay, so going from blue to green is not necessarily a big humongous difference, but I want to have the same effect on my green that I had with this light blue. And I have a lot of green dots here. I have lots of little green dots. I have big green dots. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. Remember, take the lighter value first, okay, and then the darker value in here and mix. Okay, so I'm going to end up with a nice green here. It's kind of a very mint green. I'm going to try just adding a little bit of yellow to it, just because I wanna. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit more green, but like a little darker. Okay, a little bit more yellow. So that playing around with the colors is part of the fun. So don't leave that part out. Have some fun. Have some fun with your color. Okay, so I have this kind of yellowy, greenish, minty color. All right, so I'm going to actually put this brush in the water now because I don't want it to get ruined. We're going to do that. So I am going to take the same tool that I used to put this light blue on top of the dark blue. I am going to dip into my light green, and I want to see what this baby is going to look like. And I think you're going to like it. Let me dip a little bit more here. Maybe I do need a bigger tool. So I'm thinking out loud here. If this has enough green on it. And I think that you can see that. It is right here inside the yellow. So let's try this as well. This one's a little bit better for some reason. Okay, I'm going to try redipping these little guys. That's better. Okay. All right, so can you see the mint green here and here? And I can still see my dark green underneath it because I'm just top dotting, okay? Which means I'm just kind of laying it on the top here. Okay. You see that? Okay, let's do, I have one more to do over here. Okay, let's try doing from the top. Whoops. Okay, so now you can see the green, you can see the blue, you can see the green. Is that not awesome? Okay, so now what I would like to do is lighten up some of these other greens, but instead of a really light green, I think I'm going to take and add a little bit more green to it. So this mint green that I have here, I'm going to take and add a bunch of green to it. So even though it's lightening up the green, it's still a lot darker than the mint green that I had showing up. Okay, and I just put a bunch of yellow in it, like this. Okay, so that's a really, maybe not as, let's go darker. Okay, let's try that. I'm liking that, I think. All right, so we went from a really light green to a mid-tone of green, and then of course we have the really dark green that we used before. Okay, so let's try some of that, and I am going to switch to a bigger, let's switch to a bigger nib for this. Okay, so you can use your pencil tip. You could use your, oh, this looks a lot better. You could use your Q-tip, pencil tip. Okay, so these big, huge dots in here. I'm going to add a little bit of lighter color to them. This the bottle is so very dark that the really dark green is not showing up as well as we hoped. However, like I said, we knew we were going to top dot these guys, so not a problem. Okay, so can you see the green? Is that not awesome? Okay, let's do the rest. And now I'm working with those 3 leading dots and some of the outside dots. Just because we want to give a little bit more color here. And again, we can do some touch-up work afterwards with our black paint in a brush, okay, or a tool. And typically, whenever we do a mandala of any kind, you're going to find that you're going to need to do touch-up work. I don't know anyone who doesn't have to do some sort of touch-up work afterwards. So if that is you, you are one of a kind and very lucky. I had a student who, you know, she's a new student because she's home with her children, and she's like, oh, she said, we just need something to kind of keep us, you know, as a family doing things together and so on and so forth. She said, I love, she said, the mandalas that you do. She said, do you think you could teach me how to do them? And I said, absolutely. So she came over one night and we started a mandala. And she said, oh my God, I really, really like this. So I said to her, well, you know, I said, practice a little bit, and, you know, I'm sure that, you know, you'll get good at it, and you'll do so many dots in just one painting that it's hard not to get good at it really, really fast. So I even sent her home with some canvases and canvas boards, and I said to her, you know, knock yourself out, do a good job. So I didn't hear from her for like 2 days. And then she sends me all these pictures, and she posts on Facebook all these mandalas that she did, and they're absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And I'm like, oh my God. And she's like, are these okay? And I'm like, are you kidding me? What do you mean, are they okay? I said, those are better than mine. So she laughed, but I wasn't kidding. So the more you practice, the better you're going to get at it. And like I said to her, actually just kind of there's so many dots on one piece that it's difficult to not get good at them. Okay, so I think, okay, we can put some yellow dots around this middle. Okay, these middle dots, and I'll show you exactly where in a moment. Get one here. And this will give some color to the middle dots. And it also helps us tie in. Okay, see the yellow dots here? It helps us tie in with the green that we're putting around here. And if you notice, on this picture, there is a blue kind of top dot for the middle. So I am going to put one in mine, like this. What do you think? It's right there. Okay, we are looking good, babies. All right, so I am going to start working on the top here. Okay, so for the top, I'm actually going to start with a blue dot, a light blue dot, like right, I'm lining it up here at this middle. I'm going to put it right here. Okay, so I'm lining it up with that white top dot and I put it right there. And I'm going to put one just below the lip of the bottle. And if you have a different kind of a bottle, that's okay too. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so I have 1 in the top and then 4 coming down the bottle neck. Now, if your bottle neck is longer, you want to make it bigger, go right ahead. You can make it longer, certainly. Okay, now I'm going to take my white and put 1 on either side here. And here. And I'm keeping them kind of far apart. Okay, here and here. So I'm going to switch tools now to a more firm tool, or point of a pencil would be a good tool to do that with. I'm going to take my whites and come right around here. Okay. So this is what I did, right around that white area. Just with my white. I'm going to clean off the tool. I'm going to go to my light green and do the next one. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you can see the green. And I'm actually going to do 3 rows of the green. Okay, let's see if we can get you closer. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and I'm using the green mixture I made. Feel free to use any color that you want, certainly. If we put the green here, then that is it. Because we're using the same green that we used to top dot, kind of ties the design in. I'm a Virgo. I like things to be kind of neat, I guess. Okay, from there, I'm going to switch to the yellow. And I'm going to do 1, 2 yellows. Okay, and my yellow is the one that's a little bit drippy. I get tails, so I'm going to be careful with my yellow. Okay, see if you can see. And like I said, it's even if you feel like you're having a hard time with this, you will do so many dots on one piece that eventually you can't help but get good at it. Anything that you do consistently, you're going to do well. So I'm going to dot all the way up to my white dot. Oops. Okay. Those tails. It's going a little closer here. Okay, so I'm going all the way up to my white dots here. Okay, now I'm going to actually dip into the white. Okay, now the top dot. Right there, starting dot. Can go like this. And that's my hand slip because of the way I'm holding the bottle. So again, you know, if you have a mistake like that, usually you can pick it up relatively easy. And if you can't, again, you can always wait till the end and then do a correction. Okay, there. Okay. So now I'm kind of close to my design here. So I'm going to go ahead and put my blue. Okay, I'm going to use a dark blue here and then just kind of top dot it with a lighter blue. Then I'm going to take the lighter blue and go right around it. Okay, see how gentle that is? Very cool, isn't it? Okay, so now I'm thinking I want something to come down the side here and here because I'm liking that design there. So these are, drop them. I'm going to use the bigger dotting tool, I think. And I'm going to put that one in the water. And I'm going to put that one in the water because it just dropped it on the floor. I'm going to use the bigger dotting tool here. I'm going to go into my light blue. And right beside this one, I'm going to go just like this. Okay. Let's turn this bottle around. Turn this guy around this way. Okay, so that's what I'm having there. And then I'm going to take my little guy, which is in my water. Where are you, little guy? Okay. And I want to put 3 walking the dots. Okay, when I say walking the dots, I'm not cleaning. I'm letting the dots run out. I'm letting the dot-er run out of paint so that my dots get smaller. Okay. So this is what I have there. Right. So what did I do with my little Q-tip? All right, so I have a little spot on there that I want to actually take off. But I seem to have lost my Q-tip. So I'm going to use something else, a different Q-tip. So let me see here. Off of here like this. So this is our finished product. Okay. So this is what we have. Okay. As you can see, came out a little bit different, but it's A-okay, and we like it. And after this dries, you can put some sparkle on it, you can antique it, you can do whatever your heart desires. And this is where I was handling the bottle, okay, here and here. So I'm actually going to take some black now and just put some out on my palette. And take a small brush, all right, and I'm going to just clean up some of my fingerprints in places where I was touching the bottle and maybe marred some of the black that's on there. Okay, so like I said, this is relatively an easy fix here. Okay, so the part that may not be as easy to fix is the little tiny areas in here. So for those, let the piece dry completely. Okay, and then with a detail brush, a very small detail brush, or even a pointy Q-tip, right? You can take a pointy Q-tip, stick it in the black, and just kind of dipping it in the black here. Then you can just kind of touch, right, where there's a place there that should be black. Okay, so I will tell you that I am happy with this piece. It was a lot of fun doing it with you. And I am going to, I will get it up on the YouTube channel so that you can see it. And also we can broadcast this on DATV because it was the wonderful Miss Bethany that asked me to do it. But you know, we're going to share it. We're going to share it around a little bit too. I'm sure she won't mind that at all. Okay, so this is what we look like. Okay. All right. So let me come back over here and see you one more time before we say bye-byes. Jones Art Gallery. And because I am retiring, okay, I am not, my website is no longer up, but I am still carrying my Facebook page. So it's Jones Art Gallery /Haverhill. And you can see all the good stuff there. I also schedule all kinds of, we have a paint pouring class coming up, all that good stuff. So meetup, intuitivebodyandsoul.com, meetup.com actually will take you there as well. All right, so I will put some links in the description. Okay. So if you want more information about the Drake Council on Aging, give Bethany a call at Drake Council on Aging. You can, let me see if I get this right. She's B Loveless, BLOVELESS at draketma.org. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And she is awesome, 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 and will answer absolutely any questions you have. And if she doesn't know the answer herself, she will find it out for you. Okay, so Drake It TV, okay, is going to go ahead and show these tutorials, and I will share them on Jones Art Gallery's Facebook page, and my friends in Billerica will send them there. So we share, and this is a free tutorial. All right, in all my YouTube channels, there is a link there if you want to make a charitable contribution. We're more than happy to have that. Okay, so thank you very, very much, and we will see you next time. Okay. Have a good one. I'm going to find the off button and wish you well.